What's more shocking?
Qu'est-ce qu'il y a important? Qu'est-ce qu'il y a de plus important?
He'd rather me have my tits out and be a good person than have a shirt on and be a bitch.
Welcome to WeHumans News and Critics channel. Today is the 24th June 2024. Stonehenge, located in Wiltshire, England, is one of the most iconic and mysterious prehistoric monuments in the world. Constructed between 3000 and 2000 BC, it is a UNESCO World Heritage Site renowned for its unique stone circle. Stonehenge holds immense archaeological significance as it provides insights into Neolithic and Bronze Age ceremonial practices. The site's precise alignment with the solstices indicates its use for astronomical observations, reflecting the sophisticated understanding of ancient builders. Its cultural importance is reflected in its enduring presence in British history, mythology, and contemporary cultural identity. But recently, the iconic Stonehenge was targeted by activists from the Just Stop Oil organisation. Dressed in identical white t-shirts with slogans, the activists sprayed bright orange stuff across the ancient stones. Opponents tried to protect the historical monument and pulled the activists away, but they were unable to stop the extreme environmentalists. Why did they do this?
I think that the action has been quite shocking to many people. I think we need to be considering, what is it that's more shocking? Is it a bit of orange cornstarch on a treasured monument, or is it the fact that governments are committed to burning more oil, gas and coal when we're just coming off the back of 12 straight months of record temperatures that are leading to fires, floods, crop failures worldwide? It's going to lead to millions of people killed and displaced in the years to come. What's more shocking?
Here is what their spokesperson said. Perhaps cornstarch doesn't actually cause any significant damage, but is there a flaw in the logic of the spokesperson for Just Stop Oil? Is it reasonable to intentionally cause what they perceive as minor harm to draw public attention? What is more shocking? Using the argument, what is more shocking, to justify intentionally causing minor harm to draw public attention may involve several cognitive biases. I have just made a video about cognitive bias. Let's analyse the possible fallacy the spokesperson made. 1. Confirmation. Bias. This bias occurs when people favour information that confirms their pre-existing beliefs, while disregarding contradictory information. The spokesperson may focus on examples where shocking actions successfully drew attention to their cause, while ignoring instances where such actions led to negative consequences or backlash. They believe that creating shock is the most effective strategy, despite evidence that it can also alienate potential supporters. 2. Availability heuristic. This heuristic is a mental shortcut that relies on immediate examples that come to a person's mind when evaluating a specific topic, concept, method, or decision. The spokesperson might rely on readily available examples of shocking events that received media attention, assuming this is always the best way to attract attention. This ignores other effective methods that might not be as dramatic but are equally or more effective in the long run. 3. False consensus effect. This bias occurs when people overestimate the extent to which their beliefs or opinions are typical of those of others. The spokesperson may assume that the public will view the shocking action as justified and necessary, overestimating the level of support for such tactics. They might believe that the majority of people will understand and sympathise with their cause, even though many might actually find the tactics unacceptable. 4. Outcome bias. This bias involves judging the quality of a decision based on its outcome rather than the quality of the decision at the time it was made. The spokesperson might justify the tactic of causing minor harm by focusing on successful cases where shocking actions led to increased awareness. This ignores the inherent risks and potential for significant negative reactions, focusing only on favourable outcomes without considering the broader context. 5. Black and white thinking. False dichotomy. This bias involves seeing situations in only two categories, rather than on a spectrum, often oversimplifying complex issues. The spokesperson might view the situation as a binary choice between taking shocking actions or not being noticed at all. They might ignore other nuanced and effective strategies for raising awareness that do not involve causing harm or shock. So using the "what is more shocking" argument to justify intentional minor harm involves several cognitive biases that can distort decision-making. These biases lead to an over-reliance on shock tactics, potentially ignoring the negative consequences and more effective alternative strategies. If cornstarch is not shocking enough, how about this?
Climate activists who tried to glue themselves to a famous painting were stopped by quick-acting museum staff. This latest protest happened at the National Museum of Norway in Oslo, where members of a Norwegian-based group called Stop Oil Exploration attempted to glue their hands to the scream. However, video from the group shows the activists were quickly stopped before the adhesive would stick to the glass.
Thumb up for the museum staff to quickly stop the activists, but not every famous painting was lucky enough. Gioconde, or the Mona Lisa of Leonardo da Vinci, was the unlucky one.
Qu'est-ce qu'il y a important? Qu'est-ce qu'il y a de plus important? L'art, le droit et l'alimentation saine et durable. Notre système agricole est malade. Les agriculteurs meurent au travail. Un Français sur trois ne fait pas tous ses repas tous les jours.
On va vous demander d'évacuer.
On est riposte alimentaire et on demande la mise en place de la sécurité sociale et de l'alimentation durable.
I was surprised that, and the staff of Louvre are just so polite, only slowly used the folding screen trying to visually isolate the scene from other tourists. What would the police do if this happened in some Asian countries? And what were the activists actually chanting? Qu'est-ce qu'il y a de plus important? In English, what is of more importance? Sounds familiar?
Visitors at the National Gallery in London stood stunned as two young activists glued themselves beneath an exhibit of Vincent van Gogh's Sunflowers.
What is worth more, art or life? Is it worth more than food?
Another one. Poor Van Gogh's Sunflower, hope it was just a replica. Again, same logic. What is worth more? Well, when wrestling with the non-living creatures like the paint and cultural monument is not arousal enough, they went to confront the real human, stopping the traffic, blocking the road. I just want to ask, hi Miss Activist, if your mum is rushing on the way to hospital, what is more important? What is worth more?
I'm still a little bit flustered by your outfit, but by those. Hey, you know what is? And I know you probably get asked this all the time, and I apologize.
Let's
but
go for it.
I have a 23-year-old daughter. What does your dad say when he turns on the TV and he's like?
My dad doesn't know how to turn on the TV. That's
He doesn't.
the good thing. He's a caveman. No, my dad. You know what? It's actually. My dad's cool because, I'm sure he'd maybe rather me not have my tits out all the time,
Yeah.
but he'd rather me have my tits out and be a good person than have a shirt on and be a bitch. Which.
Sometimes this kind of logic could be ostensibly conniving. During an interview, when the host wondered why the guest was almost naked, the guest used a very similar logic. In terms of cognitive bias and logical fallacy, the guest had well diverted the question and switched the focus from whether the outfit was appropriate to anyone's character or virtue. This was irrelevance. The guest's response also demonstrated confirmation bias, as she focused on the moral quality of people to justify their nearly naked appearance, ignoring counter-arguments. How many people for some time were both naked and bad? Moreover, the guest employed black and white false dichotomy, simplifying the issue to good people versus bad people, neglecting the complexity of behaviour and morality. Finally, the response reflected an attempt to rationalise the behaviour, overlooking social norms and the audience's potential reaction. You can argue that it was just an entertaining show, and it was just for amusement. then I have to say that it is exactly through the emotional resonance that such false reasoning habit could spreading from the guest on the stage down to the audience who applauded to such twisted reasoning. Earlier this year, activists damaged painting of Lord Balfour, who played key role in creation of Israel. This touched an even more complex issue. We will make separate videos talking about it next time. Here, just to know that Lord Balfour was instrumental in the creation of Israel, he held a significant place in history. Activists slashed his painting with similar logic. Each cut seemed to strike not just at Balfour or Israel, but at the very essence of human rationality and civilization. This act resonated deeply, leaving observers to ponder whether the target was a historical figure, a nation, or the shared heritage of humanity. In his book, The End of History, Francis Fukuyama critiqued contemporary environmentalists' motivations, along with their logical inconsistency, and pointed out their hypocrisy. If humans value no more than animals, then why those activists value animal life more than the HIV virus? I would add some more points. If 4 billion people is more worth than 3 billion, should we sacrifice 3 billion for the 4 billion? Do they have practical alternative plans? And why don't they pick up a tougher target like those totalitarian regimes, who are cause more harm than those paintings and stones? Anything in common between these behaviours and a toddler's tantrum? There is an old French lyrics with the melody of Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Start. Oh, shall I tell you, Mama? What is causing my torment? Daddy wants me to reason like a big, big person, but I say that candies are worth more than the reason.
À vous dirai-je, maman, ce qui cause mon tourment. Papa veut que je raisonne comme une grande personne. Moi je dis que les bonbons valent mieux que la raison.
From a child's perspective, of course, candies are always worth more than the reason. But how old are you?